Hello Globetrotters, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Lori, and in this community, we aim to educate, motivate, and inspire each other in all things travel related. So it's that time of year, right? This is the time when most people start to take their vacations. They figure it's time to take a little trip somewhere, time to take some time off work. It's halfway through the year and we are ready to go somewhere. Now the month isn't over yet, so I'm not rushing it, but still, school is almost out. So most of us with kids are going to be trying to travel with the kids. We're going to be trying to go places. If you haven't taken a trip out of the country yet, or you haven't taken one in a while, make sure that you stay tuned. Make sure you save this video for future reference. Make sure you share it with others who you know will be making trips out of the country as well. So here are some mistakes that people make relating to their passports. Let's get right into it. No need to hesitate. Let's get right to number one. The very first common mistake that a lot of people make is waiting too long to apply. If you know that you don't have a passport and you plan on traveling, make sure that you give yourself, I say, at least 3 months, maybe even 4 months to have the whole process go through before your trip. If your passport is about to expire, if you already have a passport, the same thing, give yourself a lot of time. The passport agencies have been saying that there's about a 10 to 12 week lag because so many people have been applying. There's still this revenge travel that's happening. So make sure that you give yourself plenty of time to get your passport back in time. You can always go to one of those emergency offices if you already have your travel planned so that you can get it overnighted. Of course, you're going to pay a lot of extra money for that if you want it to be expedited and get your passport back faster than the 10 to 12 weeks. You're going to pay extra money for that as well. But in order to go to those passport offices, you have to be traveling within 14 days. Otherwise, they won't assist you because there are other people who need to travel within 14 days that they need to attend to. So they prioritize those individuals before you. But don't take any chances. Set a calendar reminder so that you can make sure that within 6 months of your passport being expired or the expiration date coming up, that you make sure that you apply. So don't wait until the last minute for that one. According to the U.S. State Department, a lot of people don't know that they can't use a damaged passport. You know you can't use a damaged passport, right? If your dog chews your passport up, it's probably better safe than sorry to go ahead and get that passport replaced. The other thing is, I have all of my old passports and they have hole punches through them because they do return them to you along with the new passports. Well, you can't use an old passport. Something with a hole punch in it, you can't use. Something that has water damage, you cannot use. Something where pages are torn out of, like your visa pages where they were stamped, torn out of, you cannot use that. So if you are in doubt, go to the U.S. State Department, travel.state.gov, and look up to see what are some of the damages that are not acceptable as routine wear and tear. So, or you may want to go to a passport office and ask them if this is something that may not pass as a usable travel document if you have to travel soon. Another very common mistake is not having enough validity time after the date of your trip. So what do I mean by this? For instance, a lot of people will travel and they will say, well, my trip is June 1st through June 10th. And my passport doesn't expire until June 30th. So I'm good to travel with that passport. Not necessarily. And I tell you guys again and again and again, go to the travel.state.gov website, check the individual country that you're going to be traveling to and see what their requirements are. Because some countries want you to have at least 6 months validity after your travel is completed on your passport. That's the safe date. I always say make sure you have at least 6 months because some will say 30 days, some will say 60 days, some may say, like I said, 6 months. So you want to make sure that your passport doesn't expire just as soon as you get back from your trip. So I don't know all the particulars of why that is, but just be on the safe side. Make sure that your passport doesn't expire for quite some time after you get back from your trip. or you may not be able to go on that trip in the first place. If you're an OG Globetrotter or you're a frequent trotter, traveler like I am, and you go out of the country several times per year, you may find yourself even running out of pages. So the next mistake is not having enough blank pages. Again, some countries will require you to have at least 2 blank pages so they can go to a fresh page to stamp your entry, to stamp your exit from that country. Some require you to have 4 for some reason. So make sure that you check, again, the individual country and see how many pages they require, that you have clean to stamp as you get in and out of that country and any other countries that you may be somehow waylaid into. Like I was, stuck in Turkey, didn't plan on being in Turkey, but I had enough pages. But every time I travel, I make sure that I have enough clean pages for the customs or the border security people to stamp. The next mistake is fairly common, and this is something that you may already be aware of, and that is assuming that you only need your passport to enter that particular country to which you're traveling. So a lot of people will say, oh, but we have one of the best passports in the world. Actually, the US passport is not the strongest, and I told you this before in a different video, but this country has the strongest passport where you can enter the most countries in the world and not need any additional documents, just the passport. Well, if you're going, for instance, you're traveling as an American and you're going to Rwanda, if you're going to China, if you're going to Vietnam, if you're going even to Brazil, you're going to need not only your passport, you are going to need, at the time of the filming of this video, you're going to need also a visa to gain entrance into that country. So don't assume that you're only going to need your passport. And just a little while ago, just a few years ago, you needed your passport, you needed a visa, you needed some health documents. I won't name, what was going on right then, but there was a little bit of a Panamera happening. But I have to be careful what words I say on YouTube. But you needed health documents, you needed tests done, you needed cards stamped, you needed all those things. So just double check and see what's going on in that country and what they're requiring as far as in addition to the passport, not just the passport, okay? Okay, this one may seem silly, but for a lot of women, this is usually the case, and that is not matching the name on your ticket to the name on your passport. For instance, if you usually go by a number of different names, if you go by a shortened version of your name, like Lori instead of Lori Beth or something like that, and your passport says Lori Beth instead of Lori, or your passport says Jonathan instead of John, and you put John on your ticket, but your passport says Jonathan, the names should match. Especially for a lot of women, if you get married, you may have a hyphenated name, but your passport still has your maiden name and you're trying to use the old passport. Now, when you have either an entirely different last name, or you have now a hyphenated last name, or you just have switched it up or something, people do all kinds of different configurations of their new surnames. So you want to make sure, long story short, you want to make sure that your last name or your full name, whatever your name is on your passport, matches the name on your ticket. Because if it does not, again, you may not be flying. If you travel a lot, you will notice that a lot of places sell like these little souvenir stamps that you can put in your passport. Some people will put it on their luggage. Others will put it in their passport. Don't do that. Don't do that. It actually renders your passport damaged. And remember what I said about using a damaged passport. So now your passport is invalid because it's damaged, because you put some cool souvenir stamp, some either, sticker or stamp or foil or, logoed thing or something like that into your passport. Don't do anything like that to it. It's just, not a good idea. And again, you're going to need to buy an entirely new passport. I can't tell you how many stories I hear about this next mistake. People putting their passport into their checked bag, their checked luggage. Why are you still checking luggage? But anyway, into their checked luggage, or even into their carry-on luggage. You should never, ever do that, because how many times has your carry-on luggage been checked? If your carry-on luggage gets gate checked, you're like, oh, it's fine. I already went through security. I'm already in the airport. I'm getting on the plane. I'm fine. What happens when you land? Because when you land now, you have to present your documents. You have to fill out some paperwork. You have to prove that you are who you say you are. If you do not have that paperwork with you when you're exiting the airplane and getting into the airport, which is now the official jurisdiction of that country, they can put you back on the next plane home. And so your vacation will be, I saw the airport. I saw the airport of this fabulous country, and I didn't get a chance to go anywhere. I would like to know, which of these did you learn today as being a reason for being denied travel? Thank you for watching this video. Please make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, do all the things. As always, be sure to value experiences over things, because travel is one of the only things you buy that truly makes you richer. Ciao.